mouth noise.
This is good television.
Yeah.
Oh, it says y'all are silent for me too in the chat. Oh.
There we go.
Right.
Hey.
Howdy, folks.
Hey folks, my name is Dan Phipps. I'm half of Gemrum Games, who is the team that is bringing you Nine Lives Valhalla. It's kickstarting now as part of Zine Month. If you haven't been following that, you can go to zinemonth.com and see lots of cool stuff. That is all crowdfunding, all at once. Your wallet will never forgive you, but tons and tons and tons of cool stuff on Kickstarter and itch funding, and I think a couple things on GameFound. So tons of cool stuff happening. But we're not here to talk about all of that cool stuff. We're here to talk about this cool stuff, which is Nine Lives Valhalla. It's a rules-light tabletop RPG about death metal Viking cats in the Age of Beasts, who are being personally shepherded by death to fight and die gloriously and earn their place in the drinking halls of Valhalla. Before I get too in the weeds, though, let's give everyone else a chance to introduce themselves, and then we'll make some characters.
I'm gonna go because people say they can't hear me. Can people hear me now? We'll wait for the lag.
Okay.
It said you were muted, sir.
Yeah,
No,
I'm not muted, but I don't think I was grabbing through OBS. There we go.
Yes.
All right.
Hey, thank goodness.
I'll just start because I'm talking. Sorry. Hi,
right.
I'm Bill Roper, and I do all kinds of stuff, and I'm Happy Jacks, and I'm all over the place, and this is super exciting. I get to play. I've been forever DMing, and I'm so excited to play. So, yeah. I'll kick it over to Jay. I'm going to pass it on.
All right.
I'm just going to pass it. Sorry.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jay Africa. I'm a gamer slash DM slash GM from the Los Angeles area. I, too, am a forever GM, and so I'm so happy to be able to play this of all games, too. Looking forward to seeing what our little cat crew can accomplish, or not accomplish, for that matter. Pooja, how about you?
Hello, I am Pooja and am not a forever GM. I would say I'm a forever player, but that would also be a lie. Am I a well-rounded person? Also a lie. But I do love cats. And I do love metal. So I think I'm in the right place. And
that's me, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm CV. I am a forever GM that loves to play, and I'm excited. I love cats. I love metal. I love Norse mythology when it's awesome, and not when it's less awesome. And so this is going to be fun.
Well, I'm thrilled that we have so many experienced GMs at the table, because as we'll explain in a moment, any one of you can take over my job at any time once we get to playing. So if that's a thing that you're excited to do, you can just hop in, or you can take a well-earned vacation, I'm sure. So I'm going to give you the Star Wars call really quick, and then we're going to start making characters. So this is the opening text of Nine Lives Valhalla. The age of man is over, and now dawns the age of beasts. It has been an age since the last man drew breath. Now only stone and steel monuments remain, half buried and twisted. The land is broken, the seas are cold, and the nights are dark. Strange and vicious creatures roam the earth. Dogs still hold love of the leash in their hearts and would use their strange magics to rebuild the world in man's long-dead tyranny. Glorious death and outrageous fortune await those who would stop them. The blood of ancient warriors flows in your veins. Your movements are precise and silent. You walk in darkness, seeing and unseen. Fang and claw, blade and bow, might and magics will fell your flows like wheat under a scythe. You are a cat, sworn enemy of man and dog. Your only comrades are your fellow hunters and death itself. A seat among the world's mightiest warriors is kept for you in the drinking halls of Valhalla, headed by the Panthera Pantheon. Guided personally by death, your merry band will leave a wake of ruin, ending only at the hands of a truly worthy foe. 9 lives to stalk the earth. 9 times you will die with sword and paw. 9 times you will be carried by the Valkyries to the gates of Valhalla where no man has tread. 9 times you will be found worthy and granted a blessing of your forebears. 9 times you will cast a wake of blood and carnage upon a blighted earth. 9 lives to Valhalla. Thank you for joining me. Let's make some characters. So in order to play 9 Lives Valhalla, just a quick note about tone. We talked about this before the stream, but X card is in play. The violence level we're looking for here is your happy tree friends. Thank you, Jay Africa, for that touch point. Your Metalocalypse, your Itchy Scratchy Show, hard stop on sexual violence, and a couple of other things that aren't going to come up, but mostly it's cartoonish violence, but the word viscera is going to get thrown around a lot. So that's the level we're looking at. I will be playing Death. Death doesn't have a character sheet, but will be physically present for everything that happens in a sort of Ghost of Christmas Future energy. And the way the game is played is every time they try to kill something, they're going to roll 2 dice or maybe more, depending on their blessings, and tell me what the highest number is. And I'm going to roll some dice and tell them what the highest number is. And if they have the highest number, they kill something. If I have the highest number, they die. And if we tie, everyone dies. And that's just the energy we're trying to capture until about 90 minutes from now, when we're all burnt out from coming up with ways to kill and be killed. So they all have character sheets, but so each cat is going to get a name, a fur color, and a description. I'm a real name a character at the end kind of guy, but does anybody have a name locked and loaded, or a basic description for their cat? I see.
I did the assignment.
You understood the assignment.
My cat is Revna. And she is, as befits a disciple of Uncia, comes from the mountains, blinding snow, pure white, where she has fur, because there's a lot going on with this cat. She has seen some shit. Scar through one eye, it is now milky white and sees things that probably shouldn't be seen. There are things out there that no one wants to know. And also has some like weird eldritch, like swirling darkness patterns. That's not fur. That's not fur. Fur doesn't move that way.
This is fine. It's fine. It's all fine.
Yeah. Haunted fur. No worries.
This could only end well for everyone.
Yeah. So that was Revna. Revna is she, her? Very good.
Can cats be non-binary in this game? I know that like living cats, like we don't really have non-binary felines.
I mean, it's A, it's your cat, and B, if anyone tries to stop you, then you can murder them. And if it doesn't work, you're just going to come back stronger, and then you can murder them. So
hooray! Yeah,
no, let's kill gender while we're at it. So anyways, yes, you should feel free to make whatever cat you want to make.
Well, then, and these are house cat size cats, yeah? Or are they like?
Yeah, I mean, you would say normal size because that's what you're used to. But all the human stuff is going to be huge and weird.
Got it. Okay, so Kindred, they them is a black cat, but like not entirely black. If you look close, you can see that they have leopard spots, and like the rest of their fur is slightly lighter black. And Kindred also has pale blue eyes that are very big and see everything. but that are always moving. And because of Kindred's fur, they're very difficult to see unless they open their eyes, or basically unless they want to be seen, if it's dark.
Jay, are we ready to? Do we have a name and a description, or should we come back around?
No. I'm good. Let's see. So I am playing Percival Flexon.
Very good.
He is him. He is a large cat. Like stands about 1.5 feet tall, 20 pounds. It's one of those big cats that you kind of like cradle like a large baby.
Maine Coon.
There we go. Yes, a Maine Coon. His fur is gray, a tabby gray and black, and he always has this sort of stern expression on his face. He is a bit of a loner, and the one thing that is striking about him is that he is unsettlingly silent until he starts to get to know you.
Excellent. So we've got Percival, Kindred, Revna, and Bill. Let's meet a cat.
All right. My cat is Bjorn Belief.
Oh dear, it's very good.
Sir.
Oh dear.
And Bjorn is that just mixed breed cat that you are not sure where everything came from, but there's a lot going on there. Lots of colors, just that patchwork look, except for this one very marked black spot over one of the eyes, like a big fur black patch. And that's almost the only like consistent, like discernible moment on the cat, on Bjorn. And they are they kind of slink around. This definitely would have been an alley cat pre-Metalopocalypse.
Excellent. Bjorn Belief. I'm going to be stuck on that for a while, but the show must go on. So, before we get into all this, mechanical stuff, I just lost all my beers in roulette, but 2. Thank you, everyone, for generously
welcome.
donating to the Gem Room Games beer fund. We've squandered it. An important mechanical decision is, of course, before we choose anything else, be thinking about who's my hated nemesis. Who does this cat really need, above all else, really need to murder? And we'll come back around to that. We'll talk about that in a bit. To make your character, the first thing you're going to choose is which of the Panthera Pantheon, the 5 gods of all cat kind, you favor and favors you. Your options are the leopard, Pardus, smallest, most adaptable, drawn to tacticians in the cunning, the underestimated, knows that only a fool turns their back on the meek for long. Anka the jaguar carries the moon in its mouth, wanders far and sees those who travel far from home, shipbuilders and sailors, and all that have forgotten the comfort of the hearth. Tigris the tiger, largest among the Panthera, mighty and clever in equal measure, and watches over all the pleasures worth bringing to Valhalla's halls. Leo the lion, carries the sun in his mane, brings scorching heat to the day and leaving fire in his wake. Leo molds glarings into prides, grants arrogance in the face of devastation, and shines a guiding light on the acts of creation and destruction that will shape the world. And Uncia, the snow leopard, made a homeland for all cats by blessing the mountains with blinding snow, bitter wind, and winters of complete darkness. Favors though who lives in places thought to be unlivable. You are going to choose your preferred god, and that's going to give you 4 dice to assign to 4 attributes. And I'm going to take a drink of water and give people a chance to, make an informed choice there before we get into what those attributes are.
I know my nemesis and my god.
Excellent.
I know. Yes, I know my god. I don't know my nemesis yet.
Mhm.
Well, it'll come to you. It'll come. So the 4 attributes you're going to assign dice to, which dice are just bigger dice are better. So if you pick Uncia, you get a D4, a D8, a D4, a D4, a D8, and a D12. The stat you assign the D4 to will not be very strong. The stat you assign a D12 to will be as good as it can possibly be. And you'll be assigning those between brutality, viciousness, cunning, and ferocity.
Had to get dice out and smell them because they're not digital. They're real. They're real dice. I'm so excited. It doesn't take a lot.
4 ones in a row on digital dice once and swore never to use them again.
Right. Yeah. It's like,
I have to say,
that would do it.
As always, I am going to pitch. I don't know how well y'all can see, but I have a custom made set of dice from Dragonsworn Dice.
Nice.
That have
Beautiful.
mine, in my case, have little summoning circles on the inside.
Ooh.
Sweet.
She makes amazing dice, and you could win a custom set of dice in an auction to save democracy
Nice.
if you romance the vote. I'm just saying.
I have. This is good. I like that, Pooja. That's very cool. I'm gonna use.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
I'm sorry, I just had to plug that.
No, I'm gonna
she's-
use
Cal
my
is
Christmas
fucking
present dice, which are in this.
Ooh.
Yes. From Wiz Dice because they are chonky boys.
Oh,
Very
chonky,
nice.
Chonky,
those.
very
Yeah.
chonky.
Big lads.
I love those large dice.
That seems
I'm-
good.
I'm rolling using resin game science dice, but I just got a set of resin molds of a polyhedral set. So
Uh-oh.
hopefully the
Uh-oh.
next time I play, I will be playing with dice that I myself have made.
Nice.
Ooh,
Yay.
that's cool. Well, since everybody's sharing their set, I am rolling with a set of Die Hard's copper set. Oh,
Nice.
okay.
Nice.
There we go. Because I love metal dice. I love the thunk that they make on the table.
It's a very satisfying thunk.
Absolutely.
And it seems appropriate that you're using metal dice.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah. See, there you go.
The
right,
heaviest
right.
Sadly,
possible
all
dice.
my
Yeah,
only metal
I was
dice
choosing
are
between
D20.
my copper and my stainless steel set, and I just went with the copper. It just seemed more cat-like.
Got the stainless steel myself.
Oh, yeah. very
Nice.
They're so good, but I couldn't pass up the summoning circle dice.
Perfect.
This one's my
And you shouldn't
favorite.
have
It's
to.
metal and giant.
Silver.
Nice.
Oh yeah, yeah.
beautiful.
Those are great. Those are even better.
Do you want our
Never play on a
gods?
glass table.
Do you want our gods, Dan?
I
On a glass
do.
table, no one else.
I've got
Oh,
a 2-year-old, so all of our dice are moving up and up and up to
Hey,
keep them from
same.
going in mouths. So I definitely right before stream was like, oh god, okay, there's got to be dice in here. Let's.
After they get to a certain age, you start pulling the dice down in case they start wanting.
Oh,
to
no.
Yeah.
we- pretty much every form of childproofing has been breached, and
Oh,
the
yeah.
the 2.5-year-old is now helping the 1-year-old find roughly esophagus-sized things to put in
Oh,
their mouth.
how nice
So,
of them.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's a
Nice of them.
real
Fun
it's-
times.
when we said we'd have 2, we thought, hey, at least we won't be outnumbered. But I didn't realize that ties go to the
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
So,
two
What do you mean
two
you
toddlers.
didn't realize
Two
time
toddlers
with
is 5 toddlers.
Yeah,
Just so you know.
they're multiplicative. It's they're not additive.
They
Um,
exponentially grow.
Yes,
I
but
was-
I
I
do
used
want
to
your
do
gods
that.
because I do want to get to play this game because I will turn to a pumpkin because I got up at 5 a.m. because
you
of
have a
previously
1-year-old
stated
and a 2.5.
That's right.
youths.
Yep. Sounds about right.
But yeah, so you're gonna really quick abridged because it's so you're gonna pick a god, you're gonna assign dice to attributes, and you're gonna pick a mastered weapon, and each weapon benefits from 2 attributes and is particularly good at killing different kinds of foes, and we'll get into what that means and why some are good at killing giants and some are good at killing armored foes. We'll worry about that when giants and armored foes start showing up. And then make that pick, and then we'll go and we'll meet some hated nemeses.
I'll start. I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Please do.
My god is Pardus.
Ah, me too.
Good. Yeah, sweet.
It's a good god.
It's a very good guy.
Good god.
Almighty.
And which looks like it gives me a 2d6s and 2d8s. Excellent. And my nemesis is the Butcher. Because the Butcher gives scraps to dogs.
Cannot wait to ask you leading questions about the Butcher. I would love to learn more about the Butcher, because as we've established, the humans are all gone.
The Butcher is actually what's left over from one of those automatic food dispensing machines.
Aha.
And it's actually at an old McDonald's. And so the meat that it puts out is not particularly good anymore. Actually, but it is, because it's McDonald's. So it has that amazing lifetime preservation ability.
125-year shelf life.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so the dogs all come around, and they have learned to hit something that releases the food out to them. And so just from memories of when there were humans, that is what Bjorn has come to call the Butcher.
Well, you'll be pleased to know that I just by default wrote it in all caps. So I think that was
Yeah.
the Butcher. Excellent. And what weapon does Bjorn Belief carry?
Bjorn carries the bow.
Okay. So a vicious and cunning cat.
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about Revna.
Revna is a disciple of Onisa?
I've been saying Uncia, but I
Uncia.
don't.
Okay, cool.
I learned that by reading it, not by hearing it. So.
And I reversed consonants and vowels, so like you do.
Yeah, we're getting through it together.
And she wields the dark magics. And her hated nemesis are the raccoons.
The raccoons.
Because we occupy the same territories. Despite the fact that I have warned them over and over again that they need to vacate these premises because they belong to me. They belong to the cat. They are feline only. That food is mine. How dare you? That bed is mine. How dare you?
Excellent.
Also, back in the day, the humans found them cute.
Yeah.
And
despite their weird hands.
They're so creepy. But yet the humans found them adorable while they thought that we were too aloof to love. And that bitterness never fades.
No. Okay. So we've got it's open season on raccoons from Revna. How about Percival?
Okay. I'm kind of like reading through the PDF real quick. I've come to decide that Percival is a monk of Tigris. He actually was a monk that used to tend to Tigris's wineries, and due to his size, they would make him plow the fields. And so he is a master of dual spears, because he would use the spears to kind of like plant himself on the ground and pull, that plow along the ground. And one night he was lying in his shack out in the middle of the fields. He's a loner, so he prefers to sleep alone, not with the rest of the monks. When all of a sudden, he was visited by the pinprick eye of madness, a little red disembodied eye that started to trace patterns on his walls and all over the ground. And he could not, for the life of him, catch it and get rid of it. And it drove him mad, and he ended up rampaging through the monastery. And that is why he got kicked out and is alone now, searching for companionship and adventure. So his hated nemesis is the pinprick eye of madness, as he calls it.
Sorry, I wrote that. Let's get that exactly right. The pinprick eye of madness.
And I hope that works for you. It's a little bit of a. It's not.
Oh,
Like a
no.
physical thing, so.
We'll make it work. We're killing concepts. We'll kill a light. Like, we're gonna get that one. All those other cats couldn't do it. I think Percival's got it in him to really. What I'm gonna be very excited to find out is how the light kills you.
Right. Oh yeah.
That's we're
Right.
that's. But you know what? That's future Dan's problem, and I haven't even met that guy. And finally, Kindred. Let's talk about who you hate and other important details.
Yes. So Kindred's nemesis they call them the stinky places, because there are places behind doors with horrid loud fans that turn on if you walk underneath them. And they're really loud, and they sound like a vacuum cleaner, and it smells really bad in there, like they didn't know how to use a litter box. So,
I think there's a reference I'm not getting.
they're bathrooms.
Okay,
They
great.
hate public bathrooms because
Great.
they hate the automatic fans.
That and the fan and okay, now I'm getting. I was sort of like, wait a minute. Is there something I don't know about vacuum cleaners? What's happening? Okay, so all stinky places must be destroyed.
Yes. And they are also with Pardis, and they wield a single weapon.
Great. Okay, so to recap, we are concerning ourselves with the butcher, raccoons writ large, the pinprick eye of madness, and the stinky places. Should we come across one of those on our adventures? So I feel like we have everything we need to start playing. So what I was gonna do, because it's late and it's also 8:51, is as we think about, we've some of you have talked a little bit about your cat's life before being hand chosen by and beckoned by death in pursuit of glorious battle, whatever your life was before that, whether you were a wandering former monk or a cat who has seen some shit, but death bid you and brought you to a boat that like a long ship, completely unattended, all black wood, and written on the side, "The Murderous," the name of your good ship that you rode with death for some previous adventures that we're going to talk about right now, because it's no fun if we finish the game and nobody gets to go to Valhalla. So if everyone could roll a d4, and we'll see how many times you've died before we started playing, and broad strokes what happened, and then we'll talk a little bit about what happens when you die. 3's a good that's a good strong opening gambit. So every time you die in Nine Lives Valhalla, because you are a Viking, you go to Valhalla, but because you are a cat, you have 9 lives, and you are given a blessing from one of your favored gods, and are bid, try again, but you're not dead yet, and the Valkyries have to carry you right back down. They get a lot of they're going to get a lot of steps in today. Bjorn, I saw a 3. So you've had a very adventuresome time. How? What are some ways? You don't necessarily need to rattle off all three, but what are some ways that Bjorn Belief has gone on this adventure?
One was a turn down an alley, got to the end, there was a wall there, and it was too high, and I couldn't get up it and over it, and so the 3 dogs that were chasing me, that was that.
Yep, that was that.
The second one was jumping out of a window, which should have been fine, except that the big soft cushion that I was going to land on actually was just a pillow over the top of a bed of nails. That was bad.
Oh.
And the third one, I didn't even see coming. I was sneaking down a road, and then something hit me from behind.
Yep.
And I've never known what it was. Counter sneaked.
Yep. Classic. And as a result, you not only, I think I said this, you get mastery over a weapon when you start. You also start with 1 blessing, and then you get an additional one for every time you die. So, Bill, that would have Bjorn at 4 total. Also, if you kill your hated nemesis, you get a blessing for your trouble. So, that's worth doing. How about Kindred? How was Kindred doing?
So Kindred, before they were tapped by death, they were an assassin for hire. And so the first time Kindred died, they were trying to kill a mark, and the mark got the drop on them, and they happened to be on a rooftop, and Kindred startled so hard that they jumped up and then fell off the roof. And it was a 6-story building. So
yep.
Yeah. So that was the first time. The second time, they don't really know. They just died one day. They think they probably got hit by a sniper rifle, somebody trying to put them out, or a bow, I guess it would be.
I'm open to it.
The third time Kindred died, sorry, I'm doing the thing you're not supposed to do. The third time Kindred died, they drowned in a stinky place. Inside a stinky hole. And the fourth time Kindred died, they got squished by a falling piece of furniture inside a house.
So that's 4 for 4. That was a very adventuresome time. So 5 blessings total. And I should be doing a better job of keeping track how far along we all collectively are. Percival, how are we doing?
Okay. So Percival, I got 4. I rolled a 4 as well. A lot of deaths.
Maybe we'll all go home early. This will be great.
Yeah, there you go. First time I died. It was the monks. I was rampaging through, the Abbey of Tigris, and all of the monks had to it took all of their combined forces, and they just took the trademark spear of the Abbey and just started spearing me to death. Just dozens of piercing wounds. I traveled on another ship for my second death, and I was up at the, again, being a loner, I was up in the crow's nest, keeping watch, when all of a sudden there was this, and this eagle just kind of bursts through the clouds, talons outstretched, rips me from the crow's nest and impales. When I came back inside the eagle, and I burst right out. The third time I died, I was with this group, and we were adventuring in a bog somewhere, and I'm kind of towards the tail end of the party. All of a sudden there's this large crocodile that just snaps up and starts dragging me in, and I'm struggling, and I'm fighting against this thing, and Revna, Kindred, and Bjorn are looking at me like, oh yeah, no, he's huge, he'll be fine. And then all of a sudden I wasn't fine, and I just got to disappear into the mire. And then
alligators famously bigger than Bjorn. They're quite large.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And then for my last death, we sailed far across the waters to another continent where we were tracking down some a pack of hyenas, and I got impulsive and did not wait for my companions before I charged in, or at least didn't realize that they weren't behind me. When I charged in and was just completely slaughtered by this group of hyenas.
Brutal.
4 deaths.
Yep. Oh my gosh. All right, this is going better than I'd hoped. And then Revna, how are we feeling?
Oh, well, my first death was because I had been ousted from my nest by a group of rampaging raccoons, thus solidifying my hatred of them forever. My second death, I sacrificed my life for knowledge upon the cat tree of life. And as the tiny ball dangled down from the top branches and grew spikes and pierced my my left eye and granted me knowledge of the beyond, and I hung there for 9 days until I came back and shredded all the bark off of the cat tree of life in retaliation. My third death, as we wandered far and wide and into the mountains of Jungle's Past, otherwise known as abandoned zoos. I thought to find my kindred cats, and instead I found a panda enclosure.
Oh no.
And they had gone completely berserk. And while I fought to take down my foes, their magics were greater than mine. And I was engulfed in flames. The only, saving grace there was I jumped into their bamboo stash and took it with me.
Excellent.
Another reason I hate raccoons, trash pandas. All pandas must die.
No. I mean, that's their. If they weren't the same animal, then why would they not?
Why would they even be called the same?
Exactly. That's just science.
Totally how that works.
Yeah. Well, and you've been to the tree of knowledge. You would know the secret link. Yeah.
I mean, the cat tree of life. That tells us everything we need to know. My fourth death was on yet another quest for knowledge. I overdosed on catnip.
Yep.
As I walked the dreams of cats, future and past, I lost track of my body.
It's that astral plane, stuff you got to look out for. Well, this is fantastic. I was a little worried that everyone would roll a 1, and clearly did not need to concern myself with that, because goodness gracious, y'all have you're coming in strong as you boarded the most recently, since you've been traveling to different continents, and rode the good longboat Murderous over the Plutonian seas, when even being of Viking folk, cats tend to be more than competent sailors, and you all first among them. So the fact that death sitting in the front of this boat, just sort of this this sort of cloaked cat skulled figure with a weird sort of red halo behind it, the seemed completely unperturbed when a storm emerged and completely dashed the longship upon the rocks, and you awoke to the sound of pounding surf, the taste of salt and sand in your mouth, as you awoke on a black sand beach surrounded by driftwood, black sand, inquisitive but mostly harmless seagull folk who are just kind of crowding around to see what's happened, and the smell of dead fish and bracing cold wind, From here, you can see a couple of things. A little ways down the beach, you can see the wreck of the murderess dashed on driftwood near a cave. You can see in the distance to the northwest, you can see a ruined city overrun with foliage, and to the northeast, an obelisk looming over a high cliff. But more pressing, you can notice tiny bubbles in the sand, which let's see. I'm gonna go with Bjorn belief. How I'm gonna get the. How can you tell that you are not safe? That there is something looming and approaching that that means you all harm.
Too many birds. Birds shouldn't be near us. We're cats. They must know something.
And you catch, they're sort of like chattering amongst themselves, and you catch a little snippet of conversation, but it's all very difficult to hear until you catch one word that one of them speaks a little too loud of, so are we going to be eating cat tonight, or are we going to be eating crab? And that's when you feel the rumble of sand coming up from underneath you as 4 giant armored crabs emerge from the sand, just shouting, "Give me your meat! Give me your meat!" With these huge, they're the crabs with the one really big, the fiddler crab, the one with the really weird one big crab claw, because it looks cooler, as they emerge and just start snapping at you. Everybody roll with your favored weapon. And this is an armored opponent. So if let me know if you are not rolling. Is anybody here not rolling a viciousness die?
I am not rolling a viciousness die.
I am not rolling a viciousness die.
Oh, I need
Though I
another D8.
suppose I could, but that isn't my primary favored weapon, so I will roll with my primary favored weapon instead. Cunning and
And then-
Yeah, because there's two stats per weapon. Is that correct?
Sorry, what?
There's 2 stats.
Yeah,
right. Yes.
You roll both dice.
Ah, excellent.
Yep,
Okay,
you roll both
so-
dice, and you just
So
tell
for
me
dual,
what the highest
sorry.
number you get.
For dual weapons, so I would roll brutality and viciousness then.
That is correct,
Okay.
I believe.
Great.
He's-
rolled a
I just said
9
that
as
is
my
correct,
highest.
and then looked it up. But
Oh, and you said they are armored foes?
they are, but that's my problem. You just roll those stats. I just get an extra die if you don't use viciousness, but that wasn't the highest one anyways. So
9.
I rolled 2 7s. I don't know if it matters if you roll 2 the same number, but 7.
all right. So Bjorn, you were the one to get the. How do you warn the rest of the warband to let them know what you've suddenly realized at the last possible moment?
I'll turn and say, "The birds talk of crabs. It must be something in the sand."
That was enough warning for the lot of you, because the highest I rolled was a 6, which I kind of did in a sort of bulk. But I think all of you rolled a 7 or higher. Is that right? So
Yes.
each of all of you get this sort of warning just in time to dodge out of the way of a claw. There's sort of this ambush from underneath. Really quick, because Bjorn, how do you use your bow? I'm interested to know how you dispatch these enemies. But actually, I've been picking on you, Bill. Let's switch over to Percival. What's the Tigris monk approach to dealing with this?
Okay. So I've got a crab by me then that I can target.
Yeah.
All right. How far am I away from the murderess?
The murderess itself is pretty far away. It'd be you'd have to kind of walk there for a bit.
Okay. If that's the case, then I will take my dual spears. I will try to impale this crab and put my weight on it to force it to the ground, pinning it down.
And you rolled higher than a 6?
With the last roll that we.
Yeah.
I got an 8. I got an 8 and a 2.
Yeah. So this is just you all won. Like this is just set dressing. But yeah. So that absolutely works. You're able to sort of drive through the top of and pin it down into the sand.
Okay. And while it's pinned down, so I get to kill this thing.
Oh yeah, it's dead.
Okay.
It's donezo.
All right. I just kind of like pull the spears apart. And just rips it in half.
So good.
You know when you crack a crab open and there's like algae in there, it's got just a spray of algae all over my
Crab
face.
viscera.
Wait.
Yep.
Yes.
What crab are you eating that have algae inside?
I don't know. When you open them, they sort of have this little like there's this sort of like this sort of brownish kind of sludge inside one of their chambers, I guess.
I was crabbing a lot as a kid.
Crab.
It's a thing. So
yeah,
I know what you're talking about now. Yes.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Now I want crab.
Well, I've got good news. How does Revna prepare crab?
Revna prepares crab as she leaps away from the claw that erupts out of the sandy ground. She spits, her hiss, a little bit of saliva comes out, and it's just enough to fuel the spell that clumps pieces of sand as if for the best litter ever made by humankind. And that litter, like, it's almost like a rock or a mallet, and it crushes the crab that was attempting to kill her, cracking its shell, exposing the glorious nature of its claw meat.
Fabulous. Oh, this is taking me back to going crabbing with my with my folks. Anyways, but that's neither here nor there. How Kindred, we're just getting this like sort of great opening montage of badass like cat or rather crab evisceration, probably in slow-mo. I think we've got the budget for that. How's let's see. Yeah, how does Kindred deal with this surprise attack?
So Kindred just becomes a blur of black. Like you can't even really see exactly what they're doing, but they're just basically cutting legs off of foes as they pass by them. Just like with their weapon, just so there's just like, I don't know how many crabs there are, but there's a line of legless crabs.
It's just chopping through them with ruthless precision.
They don't even care if they're dead. They just don't want them to be able to walk anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the seagulls will finish what you start if needed.
They'll be fine.
And Bjorn, let's end where this started. How does Bjorn deal with this crab ambush?
So as everyone else is
crambush, of course. Thank you. I forget myself.
As everyone else has scattered to take care of different crabs, there's like the one big master crab that's come up, and is actually sneaking up behind one of my compatriots, and as it kind of lifts up the claws, there's like a slight exposure in where its shell has taken damage over time in the surf, and so Bjorn sights that, pulls the bow back, and like right in that small crack of space goes through and then comes out the front of the crab as it's now prepared to be a spit on the fire on the end of an arrow.
You truly love to see it. So it takes a moment for the sand to settle as crabs that have died or wish they had are littering the beach. There's been a lot of like those little seagull hops that they do when they're like, well, I might run away, but there's food here, as you're, especially if any of you've gotten close. And the things kind of, I'd say things settle. There's actually a loud and growing crowd that makes it almost difficult to hear each other speak, but they've seen enough. They're keeping a safe distance from you. Yeah, you can see a couple of things from where you are now. Death has just been standing, like knee deep in the water, watching this whole time. Not a very talkative figure on your adventures, just the occasional sort of point at maybe some graves or something particularly worthwhile. At this exact point, just sort of seems to be kind of watching in a sort of menacing, distant way. You can see your boat. You can see a city, and then there's that cliff face with a weird obelisk coming out of it. Other than that, it just looks like kind of open terrain. There's some grassland as you go inland, but you seem to be, from here, it looks like you're either on an island, maybe a peninsula. There doesn't seem to be any, like, it's all kind of, the only real way to go is north, other than open ocean.
You know what? Can the murderess carry cargo?
The murderess was carrying cargo.
Was carrying cargo? Okay. I'm gonna turn to the seagulls. I'm gonna hiss at them to try to scare them away. I'm gonna say, "Seagulls, stop it now!" And I grab a crab and I start hauling it to the murderess to stow in there for food for the journey for wherever we're going next.
So the seagulls don't love this, but they don't really like. You actually see them like push one slightly larger seagull up front, but this is a seagull who is like has the equivalent of a pocket knife and is very clearly not interested in being the people's champion today. Like, there's no fight here. So that's all happening in the background. As you approach the murderers, it is not seaworthy yet. With time you could fix it. You'd need some supplies. It would help to have someone who knows how to fix a boat. But it's not, if you could spend some time getting this fixed up, but there are like pretty big holes in it. You would need supplies or what have you to repair it.
Okay.
Food is not a bad thing to have, but
I'll relay that to the rest of the group. I'll turn to everybody and say, "Our ship is no longer seaworthy."
We'll need to go to the city then and go and get some, I don't know, wood, I guess. Not nails, something else. However we fix this.
Dead crabs eat no tails.
Awesome.
Ravna is just chewing. She has a carrying a crab behind her, but in her mouth is like half of a claw.
Mm-hmm.
She's just like nods as crunch, 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 crunch.
Have we ever seen Death
Chitin and all.
eat or drink?
You have not
or anything?
seen. You have seen Death lift a glass with you, but not drink.
Okay.
There's a but not drink and not eat. And
Death
Percival,
doesn't drink wine.
Percival, you're closest. You can see a glint of some gold that was in the. I mean, those long ships got huge, right? Because the Vikings went to like the Middle East and stuff. They were going all over the place.
Discovered America and all.
Yeah. So it's one of those cruisers. But you can see it. Surely a lot of cargo was lost when that all happened. But you can see a glint of a sack of gold, and you're able to recover from the boat a sealed jar of catnip, a sack of gold, and then each of you finds a personal effect of your choosing that you would have had among the wreckage, and just like, ruined supplies and generic stuff that isn't very exciting. But if you'd like to have something that would have been found on a Viking longship, you could probably say, "Do I see this?" And I'll probably say yes.
Yeah, I hunt. Let's see. Before I ended up getting killed by the monks, I did keep one souvenir from my past life, and that is it's like a little braid of whiskers that each cat from the monastery contributed. Whenever somebody new comes along, they braid these whiskers. They give it as a little token. So I'll take that. I'll find it. I'll take it, and I'll pocket that.
I think I find my totem necklace, which has 3 canine teeth, like actual dog canine teeth, and they were the 3 dogs that killed me the one time that I then hunted down. And so I find my necklace and put that back on. Came off in the wreck.
I have
Necklace
the
of canine canines.
I have the toy that hung down from the cat tree of life, shaped like a small raven. It's very fuzzy, or at least it used to be fuzzy. I've had it for a while. It's very tasty. I like it.
And Kindred has a small bag of shiny, light, crinkly balls that Kindred likes to bat around the ground. And so they have like 3 or 4 of them in a little mesh bag that they sling over their shoulder.
Excellent. So if any of those come up, you can absolutely find use for them or trade them, or just hold on to them for their sentimental value. It sounded like you were headed to the ruined city.
I don't know. I thought maybe the city would be good. We could maybe find some, I don't know, something to fix the boat or some other way to move.
Yeah. Bjorn, you are wise as always.
There's too many birds.
We shall approach and find more than we sought originally.
Is there any other way to get there than the boat? I don't like the water.
The city it's by land. It's going into the island to get to the city. So you're good on that front.
Cool. Sorry, I misunderstood what was happening.
Death also gives you a thumbs up.
Well, what are we waiting for?
So, as you head north to make your way to the city, it gets sort of larger. The ground beneath you has kind of gone from sand to this sort of grassy turf. It's like sparsely wooded, but not really a proper forest. The weather is, you can kind of see the sun. It's cloudy, but you can kind of tell where the sun is. You can kind of tell it's getting to be approaching midday. But as you approach the city, the trees fade away. You start seeing more asphalt kind of coming up, like cracked asphalt coming up from it feels like it's coming up from the surface. There's, more and more broken glass. But it isn't until you start to kind of enter the city proper that you realize that the city clearly wasn't built for you. It's a city that, it has this sort of, it's all stone and steel, but all the steps kind of come up to your chest. It's a city that was built for giants. And it's occupied. It's mostly, folks kind of dressed in rags and very pointedly not making eye contact and shuffling away like they're not looking for any trouble. you can definitely feel eyes on you from the windows above, like you are being watched for sure. And there's tufts of spare stray paper, kind of like tumbleweeding. There's blind alleyways. There's folks who don't want trouble. You can hear fighting in other streets, and over the sound of wind howling down the road and between the alleyways. You can, in the distance, you can hear the pontification of a priest roaring about the glory of lions. And this sort of tour is interrupted as a cadre of raccoons step out into the middle of the street that you were walking and kind of try and make a wall between you. And they are wearing these sort of these leather vests and kind of absurd military sort of officers' hats. And they've got one of them very pointedly like turns his back to you, so you can see on the back on his cut it says "Death's Chosen," and there's sort of this serviceably embroidered skull on the back. It's sort of a raccoon skull with a hood over it. Death kind of, if it's possible to roll your eyes with while having empty eye sockets, that's the sort of oh my god. One of the sort of larger and more bedraggled looking raccoons is just got one of them's got a lead pipe, one of them's got a chain. It's the real Streets of Rage collection of post-apocalyptic warriors gang weaponry. Let's say there's 6 of them. I'm feeling good about 6. And they kind of roll up, and the biggest one steps forward and says, "So, what are my feline friends doing on Death's Chosen turf?"
And I'll immediately go, "Ah!" like I'm afraid, and run to the shadows.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
What's your problem?
A trash panda to wear its manners as poorly as it wears its name. And like Revna has gotten like puffed, tail is full bush.
Yeah, there's definitely like that chorus of like all the little ones in the back are doing that like ooh is it? And I feel like I gotta name this raccoon. This raccoon's name is Luca. The raccoon. Luca, I'm trying to be clever, and I didn't sleep enough to be clever in response to this. But that's okay, because Luca sucks and probably doesn't have good brains either. So Luca comes up and is sort of like, maybe you didn't hear, but anybody coming into town's gotta pay up. And there's a rudeness tax you might have heard about. So now you gotta pay up a double. And he's like too close. Like this is someone who's not used to, who's used to getting away with this kind of behavior long enough for their survival instinct to have been severely dampened. But there's this sort of this like creepy raccoon hand out to be like, so what are you gonna make it worth our while to not Luca Nuka to let you walk through a lovely city. Anyone can make it here, you know.
Real quick, is there a standardized currency between species?
I mean,
Or
first of
is it more like trade or like a trade or barter system?
I mean, gold pretty much plays everywhere, but also I don't get the sense that the Death's Chosen are gonna be particularly picky about what they'll take.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to
Well-
offer him something.
Yes, I have quite a bit to offer myself, but go ahead. Bjorn.
I was going to offer him an arrow from the darkness to the head, because that seems
Well-
like what he deserves.
Let's see. I don't think that Luca is cunning. I think Luca is. If Luca were cunning, this would not, or tricky rather, this would not have come up. Oh, I just remembered. I did actually know. I did Luca dirty. Luca was a lovely cat. Anyways, this is a different Luca for the stream with the recording.
With a K, Luka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't actually remember how Luca was spelled, but Luca was a lovely cat. This is a completely different Luca.
This terrible raccoon that has stolen the glory of
This is a
Luca's name.
terrible raccoon. Yeah, no, that's canon now. Anyways, you can tell through your witch eye, you can tell that this is a stolen name from a cat, and that needs to be avenged. I'm weirdly embarrassed about slighting a cat that anyways, don't worry about it. So let's talk about this arrow currency that let's see what the exchange is on that. Let me see. Yeah, this Luca, real name, the raccoon formerly known as Luca.
Rocky, real name Rocky.
Real name Rocky. There we go. Thanks for the save.
You're welcome.
Yeah, see, this is why you have an active, as a GM, you want to have active contributions from the table. You really create a sense of ownership from
Listen,
the players.
if you need a Beatles reference, I will always be there for you.
Wait till you meet a moose named Bullwinkle. All right, let's talk about arrows.
Oh, I want to put dice on the table.
Yes, that is also what I want.
Good. Well,
Should we all or just him?
Let's start with just him.
I'm rolling.
The crabs went so fast that I thought that fight was going to be really cool. So I want to tease this one out a little bit.
All right,
more.
I'm rolling 2d10 for my vicious and my cunning.
Yes.
I'm from darkness, and so
are.
my Babistus's fur comes into play. I got a plus d6 when attacking from darkness. And they don't have trickery, right? Obviously not.
No, they. If this is a trick, it's very good. But you're pretty sure they're just stupid.
I'm putting the big board on the table.
Oh, Jiminy Kariminy. I heard that from here.
Right?
I got.
You were.
2 states
Felt it
away.
in my
Yeah,
soul.
no. My dude was muted, and I heard it.
We take the highest number amongst whatever's there,
Yes.
right? I have a 9.
Oh yeah. So we're gonna actually, we're gonna rewind because he when he was, we're going back to when he's way in Revna's bubble and puts the hand out and says anyone can make it. He like mid sentence, just like push of blood going the other way as he doesn't even get to finish that one. And just sort of drops. It takes a beat for the rest of the Death's Chosen to realize exactly what has happened because it is so abrupt and sudden.
Which is the perfect time
It really is, and I'd love to hear more.
for as these stunned idiots
Mm-hmm.
who have all crowded around. They've got their big stolen name boss man mouthing off. They're like, it's cool. I've got a chain. I've got a pipe. Revna has eldritch shadows that cover her body. And as she as he comes up and gets in her face and she's all puffed up and these shadows are swirling and swirling, and I'm going to roll a D8 and a D12 and a D6. 8, and I rolled 10 on one of my dice, and I rolled a 6 on another, and I don't know if that. Well, I'll ask about that afterwards. But yeah, so I rolled a 10 as my highest.
So, let's see. I gotta do some the GM accounting that you're supposed to be doing while other people are describing what they're up to. I neglected to do, so now I have to do now. So I said there were 6. Now there's 5. So you are conjuring this this eldritch energy as the sort of panic goes through the remaining members of the so-called Death's Chosen, and you realize the one that you need to prioritize is Pipe Guy. Pipe Raccoon is charging straight at you. You're remind me what was the ultimate manifestation of what you were putting out in the world? Was it a fire thing or?
This one was a darkness thing. Like,
this is a darkness thing.
I was pulling out because go all the way. I was throwing out shadow tentacles.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is great. So as you cast out these shadow tentacles and they grab the pipe, and the darkness kind of slithers up and down into their hands, but unfortunately the forward momentum of Pipe Guy, the shadow tentacles were so focused on murdering the guy, they didn't think to stop the pipe, which does enter your body cavity as you both, they just sort of are captured in darkness and with a scream blip out of reality. When it all is said and done, you have been impaled upon a leadened pipe, and may flights of Valkyries carry you to your brief pit stop on the road to glory. You will receive a blessing of Valhalla when you return. But while you're figuring that out.
As my life force briefly leaves my body, I say, death has been paid double.
Yeah, another thumbs up from Death. Death is loving it. Let's see. We've heard from Bjorn and Revna. Percival or Kindred, who's on deck?
You mind if I step up?
Go ahead.
Okay, so as the arrow strikes the that first, Rocky Raccoon's throat, the force sends him, like, before he tumbles down, the force kind of sends him flying a little bit, and I reflexively just kind of catch the body, like by the head or something, or like by the neck, and I look at it like, oh, what just happened? And then all of a sudden I see Pipe Guy's altercation with Revna, and I see Revna down, and I just grab the body and I just swing it like a club at the nearest raccoon.
All right. So let's say the nearest raccoon is Switchblade Raccoon.
Okay.
One of them butterfly knives that they can.
Yeah.
A lot of cuts on when this raccoon has to cut lemons. It's oof.
And it's an artifact from the time of man, so it's like slightly larger than its hands.
That's so good, actually. Yeah, it's like let's just gonna write two-handed butterfly knife.
So whenever he tries to flick it out, that's why it gets all this cut. All these cuts.
He's got to swing it over his head. It's like clang, 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 clang. He's figured it out, but at what cost? So that's definitely happening. That's good stuff.
Right.
What'd you roll?
Okay, hold on. What do I roll for this one? If I'm swinging that raccoon like a club,
that's an excellent question.
Could it count as a great weapon?
I would count that as a great weapon.
All right.
I think that's entirely reasonable. I think your improvised weapon will be destroyed in the process, but...
Oh, sure, yeah. I'm swinging it with enough force to break some raccoon bones.
Yeah.
That's a 6 and a 3, so 6.
So I'm so enamored with the idea of this enormous switchblade that you are trying to murder with another raccoon. So there is a perfect moment where Raccoon Corpse meets Switchblade, and they just sort of like, you know, for just a moment, you've got that sort of like, and then just the crushing weight of a switchblade made for a human in the hands of a raccoon. Kind of your the spine breaks and it pierces through and dulls itself on the concrete before it finishes bisecting Percival in a single swipe. And now, if in a more complicated tabletop RPG would begin several rounds of picking it back up and reloading and spinning it back up, but we don't have time for any of that nonsense.
Nice.
Percival has, however, shed his mortal coil, and Switchblade is still up. I think we've got. Okay, so Rocky's down, Pipe is down, Switchblade is up, there's Chain Guy, and one of them just has a revolver. Also human-sized, so very cumbersome. But definitely extant in the mix. And I think we haven't heard from Kindred yet.
No.
Take it back to the top.
So when Percival goes down, Kindred, you bastard! And they pick up Revna's corpse and start swinging it towards Switchblade.
A lot of corpse fighting. Should have anticipated this. We'll add that to the playtest notes. What happens when I use a corpse as a weapon instead of my mastered weapon?
Do we have our weapons with us?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, well then I don't do that. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I thought,
you may.
I thought we had to choose something from around the environment. No, in that case, I draw my weapon and I run at Switchblade with the intention of like kneecapping him with the, just sliding, doing like a hero slide with a sword. Yeah.
No, that's excellent stuff. I do want to add, we don't have room for it on the character sheet, but I do want to add, if your corpse is used as a weapon, what type of weapon would that be? I feel like Revna has enough baseline dark magic that even as a corpse,
it would be like
counts.
a +1 club.
It counts as a like you would still need to use dark magic attributes to use Revna's corpse as a weapon. This is a whole rules conversation for another time. This is that OSR shit. This is rulings, not rules.
That's right.
We're disinviting the designer from the game. It's just you and me now. GM.
I mean, now it's time, like, where you talk about how Revna's corpse wants someone to pick it up, because those shadows like would love to like caress living flesh.
Well, we're gonna play Kindred's choice as it lies, because that was a sick slidey
swordy thing. Oh, don't worry. If there's another round, Kindred's going for that corpse.
Oh, we may have a lot of just corpse tossing and smashing in our immediate future, because
nobody tosses a corpse. Anyway,
well, there's a lot of evidence to the contrary. Let's roll them bones.
Okay, I'm gonna roll 2d10 for my cunning and
I think this is going to go well for you.
Yeah, it's going to go great. Brutality, cunning and brutality.
Yes.
8.
Yeah, that'll do you. So it turns out you only get one swing with the switchblade when it's more of a switch guillotine that has dropped, and as the raccoon is trying to pick it back up, they do not have time to keep from. It takes their upper body a second to realize part of the reason why they can't get purchased to lift is because their lower body is actually very far away at this point, having been cut in half, and then it just sort of falls. And yeah. Luckily, you cut below the vest, so that is the embroidery work is preserved. But
good.
But the raccoon fur is not. Excellent. Revna, are we do we have a blessing? Are we back in the mix, or are we
I do. I have picked eyes that burn as stars.
Oh, very good.
Your eyes shine with the light not of this world, dancing with possible futures. Anytime a die shows 6 when you roll your viciousness, give a d6 to an ally for their next roll.
Are raccoons tricky? Tricky.
I'm gonna pick one I like and make it tricky because I feel like they're each one you kill, they get subsequently cooler. Because chain is just a cool thing to have by default, and also one of them has a revolver, which I didn't expect to write down, but we're going down the whole clue weapon list. All right, and now it's candlestick guy.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Nice. No.
I'd like to kill Professor Plum with a raccoon body in the street.
That is the name of the. All right, so the raccoon with the revolver does have a monocle and a PhD. That's unlikely to come up, but in any case,
Somehow manages to shoehorn it into literally every conversation, though.
like most people with it. Anyways, enough about dinner parties that I don't get to go to anymore because we're in a horrible pandemic. We're here to die a bunch. So we're back at the top. It's anybody can feel free to hop in because everybody acted and there isn't really initiative rules. And there is a raccoon swinging a chain menacingly, probably running at one of you, and one that is trying to aim a cartoonishly large revolver.
Did I end up kind of in the middle of everybody?
Yes, I think that makes sense. Yeah.
So what I'd like to do is like a spinning. I'm just gonna take my weapon in a circle around me and spin around as like 3 times really fast in a row to either vivisect or draw them back. Create a bubble around myself.
Well, let's start with vivisect and see where that gets us.
That's fair. Are any of them tricky?
Oh, right. We were talking about that. So where I had this written down. No, I didn't. I had this on the character sheet. That's where. All right. Tricky is tied to cunning. So I'm going to say the remaining 2 are definitely tricky because they were smart enough not to get murdered immediately. Not smart enough to run away, but
so
yeah.
I get to roll an additional d6 against tricky foes, but I don't know what that means if my base die are higher than 6.
You get to roll 3 dice.
Oh. All right.
You just, and if that turns out to be a 6, then maybe that helps you out. But yeah, and you're using a single weapon, I think, so that employs cunning. So I don't get any extra dice. All right, I rolled an 8.
I also rolled an 8. We die.
Excellent, we die. I think it's got to be the chain, though, right? Because revolver, that's. I mean, maybe there's something there. That's a bit boring. You get shot, but also you stab them. No. It's so how does the chain wrap around the sword, right? Or something?
Yeah, maybe chain raccoon is swinging the chain in a figure 8 type thing, and as he's bringing it down, Kindred's sword comes across it and it just kind of wraps around.
Yeah, I think that, and then there's sort of the forward momentum. Okay, so now you're wrapped together. Surely. Okay, we can brutal this up. It wraps around the sword and then around you, and you're sort of both brought into this choking embrace with your own sword at the center. Let's see.
So my sword is deep inside of him.
Your sword is deep inside of him. He's choking you, and just sort of you have a quiet moment together as you both slowly pass. Except you just get a ride to Valhalla. This is his last exit. All right, chain is
and
donezo.
I hope you don't like it.
and I'm not doing a good job of keeping track of how many times y'all have died, but that's fine. That's just a pacing issue. It's not like we're doing this in public. All right, there is one left, and it would be smart of it to run, but is it willing to leave that enormous revolver behind? Guess we'll find out. Who's on deck?
All right, you know what? I'll take it.
So
my body's been basically cut in half, right?
Mm-hmm.
From where it flops onto the ground, all of a sudden you hear this sort of squelching, slurping sounds as my organs and my bones and my muscles start to knit themselves together and pull my body back into shape.
Yes.
And I yell out this big hiss because, boy, that was painful to come back just as much as it was to die. And I just this deep growl comes out, and I pull out my spears, and I aim it towards the legs or the feet of this raccoon to try to pin it down.
All right.
This is revolver raccoon, right?
This does involve a raccoon.
Okay.
Does Revna, have you gotten to drop a raccoon here? These are your. Oh, very good. So you get an extra blessing.
Yep. I picked that one too.
Thank God. I just didn't want to go through this whole combat. I wanted to make sure you got, at least a taste of that sweet, sweet revenge.
Yes, I pulled one into the darkness.
Yes, I was there. I just don't have good short-term memory, apparently. So
I burned its
using...
soul in the afterlife in order
Yes.
to fuel my my witch's sight.
That's a good trade. A raccoon you didn't like very much for, witch sight. Percival, you're using 2 weapons, right?
Yeah, I'm using my trademark dual spears.
Okay. So I don't
that's,
think you're using cunning, which means I get another d6. Let's see how this goes.
But also, let's see, hold on. So I'm using brutality and viciousness, and I also get that extra d6 against tricky opponents.
Great.
It's a tricky opponent?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really tricky to get a gun that big.
Okay, that is a 9.
Oh, I love the ties coming one after the other. This is so good. And so it's like it's like a PBTA game when you have to come up with a consequence, but like they still succeed, but like, I don't know. So you get the pin, it drops the gun lands on you and then fires. Just completely, there is a deafening sound as this bullet discharges, and like a canyon in the asphalt that has just the faintest red to it, and a little bit of viscera from a very evenly distributed Percival down Main Street. As this raccoon pulls, is like trying to pull the spears out, and all it manages to do is it probably would have been okay if he'd have just left those spears in there, but you start pulling and you nick arteries, and it just becomes this sort of gruesome mess. And that is the last of Death's Chosen. All chosen by death. The street has kind of settled a bit. There's frankly, actually, after that shot, you could hear a pin drop. Any of you close enough to it probably have that tinnitus that you get in movies that only last for a few seconds.
I think only Born and Revna are alive, or do we come back immediately?
You're back as soon as you have a blessing chosen, and
okay.
I think we described it as you're returned via Valkyrie, but if you've got a really sick description about how you knit yourself back together, by all means, we're gonna go with that fiction.
I think Bjorn, like when he falls, like goes over to Revna's body, because because he has this like fearful respect of her because he likes the darkness and she is the darkness. And so he goes over and he's like holding her body, and he's like, because he doesn't know the count, so he's not sure, and he's like,
You have to come back. Our work isn't done.
and he doesn't see like however she comes back behind him.
It's like as you cradle Revna's scarred and battered frame, with like the lead pipe has been like lost along the way, and you see like the darkness and shadows come out of the wound and slowly like encase her entire body, and then just eyes open, and it is like piercing, like there is no color that should ever be in someone's head.
Oh, this is sick.
And then it like drains back.
And I
you
think he,
see
like-
Revna returned.
And then he like puts her down basically, like, which is back, and he kind of is half cowering, and he's like,
They're all gone. They're all gone.
and he's happy and afraid all at the same time.
Has everyone seen Hocus Pocus?
It's been a minute, but
So there's
proceed.
a
I'm
scene
excited
where
to hear where this is going.
there's a scene where Binks gets hit by a car, and then we see him, and his little body just kind of goes. And that's what happens to Kindred's neck. Just
Very good.
and they stand up and cat stretch and
Mm-hmm.
shake it off.
Oh, very good. I just had this sudden wordplay thought of, I think we do need to be concerned about Revna Rock as an eventuality that will see the end of the Midgard serpent and the death of the Pantheon Panthera. But we're gonna worry about that later. That's end of the world stuff. Where we
That's
got
awesome.
probably about 45 minutes to an hour before I actually completely lose capacity for speech. So there's a couple of things you can see in the silence. Most folks are making themselves scarce. You can see on the top of one of the taller buildings, there's a coyote with an iron crown that's just watching. Doesn't seem to be very, very Chillsville up there. Doesn't seem to be, not hackles up, not pouncing or anything. I mentioned before you could hear the sound of preaching. You're still in the city, so you can't really get a good view of like surrounding, like what's in the distance, because it's all a little bit tall buildings and a little bit crowded, so you would need to get to a better vantage point to see that. But definitely anybody who looked like there's like, you can actually see another clique. Let's say there are a bunch of ducks with the mendicants written on their back. They're not looking to have any kind of meaningful conversation with you right now after watching what just happened. They're minding their own business. I don't know, extorting. They're playing a Blades in the Dark game. That's a whole different
It's a whole
actual
different
play.
universe.
You think we should go over and take care of those? They wrap those guys up. No way. Leave them alone.
Yeah, they're on their own actual play. Anyways, so that's kind of the scene.
Revenge, while satisfying, must lead us closer to our ultimate goals. Which in this case would be wood to repair the ship.
Yes. Well, shall we continue into the city?
Yeah, I'm going to say, where there are voices, there may be trade and commerce. Shall we investigate the speaking in the distance?
Yes, I think he was speaking of a large cat. If I recall, one of the great cats. Perhaps it can help us.
What are the relationships between the Pantera Pantheon? Are they like generally like, you know, if do any of the worshippers hold animosity against other, you know, other members of the Pantheon, or?
No, it's pretty positive. You know, it's you're all on the same team. It's different paths, the same. Yeah, but it's not like, you know, the lion worshippers are gonna like step necessarily.
Yeah, okay, we don't
It's like Balder and Thor, not like Thor and the Frost Giants.
Yeah,
there you go. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Cool,
I mean,
cool.
there's definitely stories about them killing each other, you know, as gods, because, you know, what else do they have going on? But, like, you know, we're not worried about that.
I don't know, mead?
Yeah.
Drinking mead in the halls of Valhalla? That sounds pretty awesome to me.
Yeah, no, it's sick. So as you approach the voice, you can hear this sort of this roaring to a pretty small crowd, but there's a sort of dressed as a knight, a priestess of Leo is in this sort of you kind of have to follow the voice down this kind of maze of alleyways. She's dressed in clanking iron and blazoned with the sun. And as soon as she sees you as a group and notices that death is following kind of behind you and with you, like she was sort of talking about, you know, the great cat Leo who carries the sun in his mane and will, you know, create will create prides of glarings and will lead us to, you know, an age of beasts that will never end. Like just stops the sermon and like walks through the crowd and like claps death on the back with that kind of joking familiarity, and says, "I see you are on the greatest of all quests. Come, let's leave this rabble. Come to my cathedral, to my cathedral." And you see a bodega that has been emblazoned with a great sun, and you know, there's a small drinking hall has been fashioned in a out of the sort of lined refrigerators as you're kind of welcomed into this somewhat improvised holy place.
Ah, yes, drinks will be well received.
Mead!
It is forever welcome. And here is a gift of crab to season your food.
Is oh my god! All right, no, we're GMing. I got it. And it's the priestess of Leo says,
This is beast mode for GMing.
yeah, this is you just have to jump start it a bit. It says from the sea a feast in crab. They call me Amelia. Come, let us I'll get a fire going, and you can tell me stories of how you've died to come here. Yeah, you are, to kind of montage it a bit, like you're welcome. There's casks of mead and wine. There's you know, a cooking fire for the crab, which, you know, just Amelia has Old Bay somehow, and so that's all sorted. You know, after spending a lot of time laughing at her own jokes and sort of talking about what she's doing here and trying to kind of build in this godforsaken place, like building a cathedral to the Panthera and the ways of true warriordom, finally gets around to asking what you are looking for.
As everyone in the party will already know, including Death, Kindred is only pretending to drink, but is also pretending to get very, very, very drunk. As is their custom when around new people. So Kindred says, I'm sorry. Could you repeat the question?
And I throw an arm over Kindred because I do not pretend to drink a lot or to get very drunk. And I'm like,
Kindred, he wants to know what we wanted, what we're finding and looking for things, what we seek.
Amelia's definitely has a rosy tint. I don't know if you can see. I don't know what happens when cats get drunk. I've never had a chance to see that, but for cartoon logic purposes, we've got little tiny.
Same as catnip. If you've seen a cat on catnip, you've seen a cat drunk.
Yeah. So pink elephants wander the background of the scene as we play out the cartoon logic. But yeah, this knows anything. This is for one of Death's own boon companions. What need you? What do you need?
We have a floaty thing on the water, and it's broken, and we need stuff to fix the floaty thing.
Oh no! Your floaty thing.
Yeah, there's a boat.
Oh,
we have a boat. And
I thought you had a duck.
No. We need to fix. We need wood to fix the floaty boaty.
Cause I can get you a duck. The mendicants ain't shit. I can get you a duck.
Can we eat the duck?
Yeah. What? Just no. You can't eat. Yeah. Go eat the duck. There's more ducks.
I want a duck. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get a duck.
Go get a duck. Go get a duck.
And they go to they go to look for a duck, but they also look to see if there's like wood around or anything.
I mean, I'm sure there is like, pallets and stuff, but it's like this is like the Warriors, right? Like this is not, there's not like shipbuilders and sons in operation. You do find a duck. You don't have to roll for murdering a duck. That's even drunk, like.
But I'm not. I'm only faking it.
Well, even better. Canonically, we've established that the mendicants ain't shit, so you just rock that duck. A boat. You need a boat. Do you need a? The dogs have a boat. You could take the dogs.
The iron-crowned canine.
Oh no. That's Brunhilde. She's cool. But I don't mess with her. She doesn't mess with me. It's all and just like a little bit of catnip as actually and just no, the dogs, they're in the ziggurat.
Pipe nip.
They're building something up there. They keep going to the graveyard. They keep going to the graveyard, taking bodies, and they're trying to build some.
Whose bodies?
Ooh.
Oh, like bones and
Large bones.
Yeah, now that you put it, like there was a goat in there. Now there ain't. We're down a goat. I mean, it's but it seems a bit untoward. You're not supposed to do that.
Any human bones?
Well, I'm not supposed to know about this.
Oh. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be smarter than that.
But I do. I I snuck over, and there weren't human bones, but they'd put a lot of bones together to make human bones. But then something went wrong. It's kind of hard to explain, but they had like a lot of little bones that they had put, and it looked like a human skull when they were done, but it was only half finished. So I smashed it, because what the hell, man? Leo's not standing for that.
Yeah, I there's a loud thump from the corner where I've been confining myself because, again, I'm not great around you folks. And I've been quiet this whole time, but all of a sudden there is this loud yell, and I shout out, "How have these dogs been allowed to proceed the way they have? How have you," and I point to her, "allowed them to do all this here?"
That's an excellent question. And the problem is that I like this NPC, so I want there to be a good reason. So I'm working backwards from that. But no. So let's think about that, because she wasn't supposed to know that, but I also wanted the plot to progress without you having to go to a whole new location. So okay, easy breezy. Who do you think rang the bell that brings death? It is mine to watch, but my quest is over. And at this point, you notice for the first time that like one of her she's old, and she's she's on
her last life.
She's on her last life.
Yeah, there you go.
I have given, I have dedicated the last of my life to lives to Leo and to building this cathedral. It is not my glorious death. I have been waiting for death's chosen to find their way to this horrible place and put a stop to this. Incidentally, they also do very much have a boat.
Incidentally, the fates often conspire to bring us to both what we need and what they need.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'll drink to that.
I turn to Death, and I stare it right in the eyes, and I say, "You have brought us here to kill the dogs, then."
And Death goes,
and I turn to my compatriots and I say, "I believe we know what must be done."
Yes, but do you think either of them are going to do it tonight?
And Bjorn stands up, and he's got one of the raccoon jackets. And he puts it on because they were Death's chosen.
Mm-hmm, he's like, "Now with the Death's chosen, let's take these damn dogs out now."
And he like takes 2 steps towards the door and then just face plants.
I feel like we're about to do a time wipe to the hungover morning.
Either that, or if we want to go now, I can die of alcohol poisoning and then immediately come back. Seems very on brand.
Would be amazing.
We're speed running 9 Lives of Valhalla. Any percent. So yeah, do you it's up to you. Do you press on tonight?
I think he just falls over dead.
Night is the domain of the cats, and it shall remain that way. And as we wait for Bjorn to recover from this death, Revna has another one of the jackets, and she's been just sharpening her claws on the raccoon skull portion. Just it's satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
How
It's a
do
nice tactile experience.
those weird thumbs, they just make such good.
In that case, you know what? I'm gonna turn to Bjorn and I'm gonna kind of pick him up, hoist him up, and I'm gonna say, Bjorn, you must hydrate, and I'll start pouring water down his gullet.
And I think, because I'm still choosing, it just like is running out of his mouth, and that's when you realize he's dead.
And Kindred's going to find an extremely small hole that they should not be able to fit through, and yet they can. And they're going to curl up on the other side of that hole and take a little nap.
Oh yeah, we're led to barracks and it's all just like boxes.
Yes.
We just jump into boxes.
Yep.
Yes.
The perfect environment.
Oh, and laundry baskets with fresh, warm laundry.
Yeah.
The finest
They're
that
like
Leo has
laptops,
to offer.
like old remaining laptops that have been like flipped, and you just kind of crawl onto one of them and lay down.
It just feels right to be here. Like
And, like,
you're preventing
one-
something from happening.
And
Yeah,
one
exactly.
incredibly pristine cat bed that has
Yeah.
never been
Never
slept in.
Yeah.
Not ever.
No. It's more of a counterpoint to everything else.
And I think as
Night-
as you're holding me, and then the water, like there's a and a hairball comes up. It's like,
Oh, no, I'm fine. I'm fine.
and he looks over at Revna and says,
I spoke to the witches. They say we must defeat these dogs. It is our fates.
because I took the ancient witch blessing,
Excellent.
ancient witch familiars.
As it has been told, we shall proceed.
Night has fallen. And it is, a moonless night. But you all can see in the dark. And so who cares about that? And as you walk the city streets by night, and as one last thing, the priestess of Leo offers you to take with a desiccated paw of a living saint, which does and explains that it has been preserved against the touch of death. Its finger always points towards an ally to your cause or to a holy place. And it, when you need it to, it will guide you.
Who's carrying the paw?
Well, that seems like it should be the hand of Revna that should carry that.
Yeah. Yep.
Sure.
That's magical and creepy.
Like sniff it. Mouth open, sniff it some more.
Gives a nice scratch behind the ears. As you begin to get clear of the city, you can see near to the north, past the city, there is kind of these highlands, the sort of rocky outcropping, and you can see a black ziggurat, which Amelia, the priestess of Leo, had referred to as the Ouroboros, where the dogs were operating from, and where it's sort of the northernmost point of the island, where, among other things, the promised boat, and plenty of dogs to test steel against. But as you approach, you see let me see, I'm looking at the wrong screen. Where is my notes? So you see this ziggurat of glassy black stone that it's sort of uphill from you, so it kind of, as you approach it, it looms, and you begin to realize the origin of its name as you see that the ziggurat of Ouroboros depicts a sort of alfresco or a mural of a dog with its own tail in its mouth. There are dozens of pavilions and arcades. But as you approach, you can see there is a small camp near the entrance. Sort of not right out front, but like a little bit back towards the tree line. And it looks like a military camp. Like it's gone back in a defensive position. And you can see there is a sort of at a 45-degree angle, this tattered banner with like an arrow through it with a wolf skull on it. So that's, you see it early enough, you can easily go around it on the way to the ziggurat, or you can, but you can't really get a good sense of, like, it's very quiet. There's a small fire, but like there doesn't, you don't hear drinking or people preparing for war or anything like that. But at this distance, that's all you can kind of tell.
Let's get closer and see how many there are.
Agreed. This is not the cult of the leash that I expected.
So, as you get closer, and as peerless and cats walking silently in the dark is you commonly refer to that as walking. And as you get closer, you notice they're part of the reason why it's so quiet is almost all of them are wounded. It's all dogs and foxes, and they're they look like they've just lost and been completely routed in a battle. And there's this one sort of fox in an officer's uniform who's like staring at a map as the wounded kind of groan. And Revna, you are more privy than most to the divine mysteries and theological concerns of this world. This is not a leash cult. This is the wolf cult. These are dogs and foxes that worship their own pantheon of old gods who are obviously grossly mistaken about the worth of their chosen subjects. But you were right. This is not a leash cult. This, whatever's happened here, these aren't dogs that would be trying to end the age of beasts by any means. They've got their own beast thing going on where they believe firmly that all dogs go to heaven, which is some coward's afterlife where they get to go to a farm upstate and play forever. It is a weak theology, but it is not a leash cult. And this
is not the leash cult. This is the troop of the good boys.
Writing that down.
What are the good boys?
Normally, they're what they call pacifists, but lately they have been. I think it comes from exposure to our truth, that it has started to have some influence on them. But you know how dogs are and slow to learn, and they have come to believe that they shall go to an afterlife of peace and sanctuary and.
Why would anyone worship a god like that?
I don't pretend to know the inner workings of the canine mind. But
I pipe in and I say, what they are is a waste of our time. We have leash cultists' throats to slit and blood to spill.
If these are the dogs, if these are the canines, the canonically have the boat.
Well,
But-
if they're pacifists, perhaps they can be negotiated with.
We shall find. Let us look at the desiccated paw of the living saint. Does it point to this troop?
So it does. I think it's giving them the middle finger, but it is pointing because it is a cat's paw, and it is a relic, and it is begrudgingly admitting that, you know, there is an ally to be found here, but also these guys, I guess, if you're asking, technically I have to tell you, sort of response.
Yeah. Well,
What if we went and convinced them that we could help them in their fight against, I'm gonna guess, the Order of the Leash, because dogs always fight amongst dogs. And then we just work it out where we help them all kill each other while we kill a bunch of them too, and then there's no dogs and everything for us. And we get to be bathed in the glory of the bloodshed.
I like the way you think, Bjorn Belief.
this is a excellent plan, and I believe would properly glorify the Panthera.
Wise Bjorn your years. As always.
CB.exe has failed.
Oh, very good. Oh, it's too good. So the approach is to try and convince them to take up the fight again.
Yeah, well, we can. Oh, because we're here to help them. Obviously,
Yeah.
we're their stalwart allies.
That's pushing it. That's pushing it.
Oh,
Well,
that's
you
so
know,
good.
We can. I mean, they are the enemy of our enemy.
Yes.
Any inferences they make from that are on their own.
You should do the talking. I'll just end up slitting a throat or something. But
I believe that Kindred might have the most persuasive mind.
Might I? Well, that's a side state of affairs. All right. Let's go.
quick, all right, everyone, make yourself look good first of all. All right.
So as you approach, so you approach, and the officer, it's sort of this is military finery of a kind, but a little bit. This isn't practical. This is pomp. This is parade dress. They're not really thinking this one all the way through, which probably explains why so many of them are not looking so hot. And the fox starts to reach for a sword when suddenly you notice that there's a small red light on the floor nearby, and then it sort of moves to the left and moves to the right, and the fox hasn't noticed it and is walking towards you and says, what are you doing here? This is official, I don't know, this is good boys business. What we're not looking for any trouble with you. And then the light kind of goes up the fox and near the fox, top of the fox's head, and then there is the crack of a gunshot as you notice a rifleman perched on the top of the ziggurat, holding a rifle named the Pinprick Eye of Madness.
Oh my god! All right. The fur just kind of puffs up.
Yep.
My tail is puffed up, and I say, "It is here." And how far away is this thing?
Let's say it's 25 yards.
Oh boy.
Not too far.
And does it look like I could climb to it?
Oh yeah, you can
Okay.
get there. You're a peerless death metal warrior, Viking cat.
Yeah,
You can clear the distance.
I just all reason kind of escapes my brain, and I start going from cover to cover, Gears of War style, trying to make my way to this thing that has been taunting me all these years.
Did I neglect to mention the chest high walls between you and the ziggurat, because those are
Chest high
absolutely
walls.
Yeah.
Chest high walls or the foxes and dogs, whichever one will provide me some form of cover.
That's true.
I'm not going to be picky.
Yeah, you do get shot once, but then you just kind of get behind one and wait for a while, and then the UI kind of goes from red to normal colors, and then you proceed. Okay, great.
Roadie cam and
It's like, so there's a specialist back there, and drone comes and gives you a shot of.
What do we press to crouch?
Yeah, it's fine. Don't have to worry about it. So for the sake of you are going to clear this distance. What is your approach to dealing with the pinprick of madness?
At this point, I am practically berserk, and so I've got spears both in hand. I've jammed. If I close the distance to wherever, what was it standing on again? It was on a ledge, or
it's sort of on the I keep wanting to say it's like a ziggurat, which is just a pyramid,
sure.
But but so there's the let's imagine there's sort of the mural of the dog with its tail in its mouth. And then there's a ledge above that, and then there's there's a dog with a anachronistically high-powered rifle with a laser sight up at the top. But there's plenty of crags and stuff that you could get your claws into to climb up for sure.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I start scrambling up the ziggurat to try to just again close the gap between me and that dog.
Let's roll some dice.
I'm not even being quiet about it. I'm just just hissing and meowing these deep-throated meows. And you know what? Let's do this. As I close the last bit of a gap, I'm standing behind cover. I'm hearing shots just go, kind of exploding all around. I ball up, and then I spring out full body length, just doing this arc of death towards this sniper.
Yeah, you are
so I'm
in flight.
Okay, I'm using my 2 spears, so I'll be rolling brutality and viciousness. Is this a tricky opponent? Or something else?
Let's give it tricky.
Okay, all right.
It's tricky.
That's a 9 again.
All right. You clear so you crouch into this ball, you elongate into that way that only cats can kind of become liquid at will to launch yourself as high as you can, and as you soar through the air, the rifle comes up and you see red. You see nothing but red as the eye of madness seems to come up and consume you in the blinding red, and you hear click as the dog did not do a very good count on how many shots it had left in that split second.
Can
before
I take this one?
Oh, you won. Yeah, go.
Okay. You know what? Actually, can I rewind that a little bit?
Yes, you may.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I'm arcing through the air. The red kind of hits my eyes. Now it's a bead, but it also lets me know where the shot's going. So as there's a snap of that last round, I'm able to kind of twist myself in the air, the way cats can only do. The bullet grazes me, and there's an explosion of fur that kind of follows me as a trail as I'm letting down. And my eyes hone in on that sight, and a spear tip just goes right through that sight into the eye opposite it, with a crack of glass and a splinter of bone, and the sound of the spear penetrating through to the other side. And there's this perfect little picture of the dog the gun, and me just kind of like right there, frozen in time for a split second before boom, I push it down to the ground.
Not a good excuse to use the word penetrate, but go on.
Oh, that was fantastic.
No, no,
Thank you.
Love it. I laughed. I cried. Fantastic. So you have felled the pinprick eye of madness and get a blessing for your trouble. The with the death of the fox officer, it's now much quieter in the camp. It's mostly just occasional moaning.
And that's like the enemy, right? That was the guys that they were fighting. That wasn't their dog, right? Like they're not the Ouroboros guys.
Dog infighting happening. Whatever we think, how dogs look when humans dress them up in people clothes. That's what the one with the rifle was wearing. So it's very they're ready to go back to wearing little booties when it's too hot. And that whole life. And they do wear collars. That's definitely part of the regalias. They've gone back to that life.
Is that the encampment though? Like that? Like was the ziggurat? Is that demarking where the leash, the cult of the leash is?
Yeah, leash is ziggurat. That's where the bad guys are.
Right. So with the fox getting killed, like the officer, and then the death of the light. Like I'm gonna try to inspire all the dog troops.
Okay.
To like surge with us to go try to take out the cult because like it's on the cult.
Now is our chance. Come on, boys. Come on. It's our chance. That's a good boy. Who's our troop of good boys?
I recognize I did say earlier that there was going to be no healing in this game. However, is there anything that you can think of to offer them? And again, you have the whole complement of anything that just murder made manifest on this earth would know about and so on. Like, is there anything you can do to help these good boys get back on their feet?
I pull out a large, like, road beaten sack, and inside of it, it's filled with dog treats, because I know this is a way to lure them out, and I've used them when I've hunted before, when I've hunted canines. So it's like, because I just figure like I'm just trying to inspire them to incite as much canine on canine death as possible, and so I'm like, here we are, and I start throwing treats up, and I'm like, come on.
Oh, that works. Absolutely, that works. There was a lot of licking of wounds and whining, and wait, there's a treat, and they're like off. They're back in it. Between the commands and the promise of something that tastes absolutely nothing like actual food, but is shaped like a tiny bone.
Definitely not bacon.
Yeah, I was gonna say it reeks of not bacon.
Yeah, no, there's a unique not bacon smell that comes off this. Although that's not the only thing you can smell. There is a uniquely foul odor coming from within the ziggurat as you follow your new dog kind of vanguard, who immediately get back into the fray and begin just losing this fight in the same way they did last time. You can definitely smell there's a riot of dung and urine coming from somewhere deep in the ziggurat, and Yeah, are you're heading straight in, or and
I-
sort of following
I-
the surge?
I would be trying to follow the surge, like behind the front line of it, just like unleashing arrows at as many dogs, maybe enemies, whatever, as possible. This is just triggered my whole like must destroy.
So, what you can see as you enter, and what Percival can see kind of from the top, like looking into this sort of open air sort of pavilion, is you can see the end result of what the priestess warned you about. There's this sort of built around a machine with sort of pallid skin and rings around its eyes, and this sort of grotesque red around its lips, and really red curly hair, and the means to dispense uniquely preserved meat on command, all the while in the visage of a sort of plasticine human clown. But built on top of that are it's like the dogs found the butcher and felt this needs to be more. This needs to be the new man. And so, like what I believe Bjorn Belief was the one who knew the most about the butcher. Like one of the arms is gone and has been replaced with this kind of stitched on like bio, like Frankenstein of smaller animals that kind of moves, like and opens and closes. And there's this the arm has this sort of, the other arm, the right arm has this sort of writhingness to it, and you hear this hated sound of a vacuum cleaner coming as it moves, and they are just constructing this grim sort of blasphemy that's almost 2 stories tall, and surrounding it are a bunch of dogs, like kind of staring at it and worshiping it in collars and little hoodies, and like one of them has a lot of different Halloween costumes. One is dressed as a hot dog, as they sort of the leash. They're kind of lost in a reverie. The rest of the dogs are kind of in they're getting peeled off and distracted by the and the guards that were tasked with protecting all of this ritual have been somewhat distracted by the sudden resurgence in canine opponents. But this is sort of laid bare. There's about, I'd say by now there was going to be 6. There's like 4 dogs that are kind of worshiping this thing. And then in the middle is the butcher that has been made into some kind of attempt at a new human to hold the leash.
I will yowl out at the top of the gun. "Yow! It is the butcher!" And I'll just say, It is an abomination. It is their god. It must be destroyed." Because I have blessing of hiss and growl. So my weapon is imbued with the hatred of man. And if I use it against dogs or other commonly domestic creatures, so I'm just like, I can't take it. And I would try to attack it, because I want to destroy it.
So we're gonna do some old Chrono Trigger JRPG realness. I'm gonna have, let's just have the sprites for the 2 hands and the center mass all kind of count as separate targets for the purposes of this because I can't give it more hit points, but I can give it more things you can kill. So you've got 3 of those. Are you going center mass, or are you picking?
Yeah, I think I
Frankenstein hand or the vacuum hand.
I think I would start center mass because it's probably the thing that looks the most human.
Okay.
So I would try to hit that.
And I am going to say that this is an enemy who is giant. Are you using brutality?
No, I'm using vicious and cunning.
All right. So let's fight this. So
I get that, but then I get a die because it's. Do I get the hiss and growl die?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So that's
a Ronald McDonald is the most human thing.
That is a sad fucking statement right there.
In the age of beasts,
Yes.
clowns become men.
That needs to be a T-shirt.
Yep. We'll
all right.
We'll get on it. We're working on the merch situation. We'll get
merch
in the
it
age
up.
of beasts. Clowns become men.
Okay, let's see.
You know.
Yeah. You know.
It doesn't hurt that ICP came up on my Spotify playlist.
All right, here we go. It's on. So, interestingly, I rolled a 10, and on my extra my cunning dice, which is from the Howl and Fur, I rolled a 6, and I took Ancient Witch Familiars, which lets me ask a question of death.
Huh? Would you like to?
Can I? Does it need to be in the moment, or can I reserve it till after the
Oh
battle?
yeah, that's an interesting question. Let's deal with the massacre that's about to happen, and then we'll get a quiet moment afterwards because I rolled a 5 on 2d12 and a d6.
Nice.
So this the butcher has been was wholly unprepared for a missile of cat. How do you kill the butcher? This is
well,
your
only the center mass, right? There's still the arms, but I think because I'm going center mass, I do the very theatrical, like it's the 3 arrows, like in his paw, right? And it's all cat sized, so but he knows he's got to like really bring it and then as far back as he can and lets it go. And they like arrows in this tight grouping, and one in each eye, and then one through the mouth, and the head just the plastic head just shards into nothingness, and all that's left
computer chips.
Yeah, it's chips and that horrible speaker that's just going.
Oh yeah, and it just sort of melts down and collapses backwards. It's kind of kept aloft. The 2 arms kind of have their own thing going, but you also get this wave of just a terrible smell as you realize this whole thing has been built over a stinky place, and they had placed the butcher sort of over the hole. We're gonna worry about. No, I know exactly. You come to realize this whole ziggurat was a stinky place all along, that you've been sort of lured into, and we'll deal with how to, resolve that architecturally later. Let's see.
A wizard did it.
A wizard did it. A wizard's gonna
I
do
think
it.
I think we may have just lost any opportunity for the Happy Jacks RPG Network to be sponsored by McDonald's, but it's.
I don't think they were beating down our door, though, Bill.
But you know what about this game? I'm loving it. I'm just gonna say that.
Oh, thank you. Rhyming. So let's see. It's been a while since we've heard from Revna or from Kindred. What are we? How's it going? What's the approach?
Well, Kindred has seen a stinky place, and I look around, kind of like, what can I shove in there to blow up everything?
So let's see. There's definitely torches. Like that is definitely, like, fire is findable. If you want to look for something that can serve as an explosive, I'm confident you could find something. It'll just take a little bit of time.
That's what Kindred's doing. Kindred's looking for like a gas canister or something.
Yeah, I think you know what? A gas canister would be perfect because they're keeping this machine going somehow, right? So that implies like a generator or something. So them having like a like a fuel source, and I think a gas canister is perfect. You find a like one of those red jerry cans, like full of gasoline. So you have that near the generators in the back. But we'll deal with the repercussions of this in a second. But like going to get it, like you're like two of the leash cultists kind of like followed you, and you're gonna have to fight through them to get back to the stinky place.
Okay.
He said, in a way it's perfectly contextually appropriate to talk about the dramatic battle of the stinky place.
Last stand at the stinky place.
Yeah. So good. I'm thrilled. Unlike any game I've played of this before, and I mean that in the highest of praise. So, Revna, it's been a second.
I think there you said that one arm is made up of like small bones and like other pieces of corpses and stuff like that. Like Revna goes absolutely nuts seeing that. Like loses her shit. Necromancy is forbidden.
Yeah. No.
Forbidden. You horrific, filthy, dirty, degenerate creatures. And she launches herself at the at that arm. Would you say it is magic?
Oh, definitely.
Great. So I'm gonna use Fang and Claw.
Okay.
As we must destroy the unnatural with the natural.
And you are employing ferocity.
And viciousness.
All right.
A D8. And then I get another D6. Sweet. That is an 8 on my D8.
Okay. Highest roll?
Yeah. The other
Okay.
two were 3s.
That's all right, because my highest, again on 2d12, the highest I got was a 5. So you're rocketing towards this thing. How do you unravel it? How do you?
I think so I launched, come up, spring over the two cultists, latch on with my front claws towards up towards the shoulder, and I buddy kick the ever living shit out of this arm. And it is at every kick you see small bits of bone flying off, and eventually it's just this stump, and I'm gnawing on it.
Oh yeah.
And as the last of it gives way, I think it kind of flip backwards out of the way like cats do. When they're I'm falling. No, never mind, I'm not.
Yeah. So all that's left of this new person is functionally a whole lot of, clinging to meat on a destroyed piece of legally distinct fast food paraphernalia with a vacuum cleaner attached to it. But that vacuum cleaner is making scary vacuum cleaner noises, and it's not to be dismissed as a threat. there's a couple more cultists hanging around, and of course there is the belching foul odor of the stinky place. Kindred has the gas and the solution to this whole situation. Percival, you're still on the
I'm still up top, right?
You're still up top, yeah.
Okay. So first of all, after I avenge after I avenge myself of the pinprick eye of madness, I feel Tigris, the presence of Tigris, reach down and guide my hand to pick up the sniper rifle. I wrap my paws on the sniper rifle, and I took the blessing of decapitation, which gives me a great weapon. The rifle configures itself into this gigantic axe.
Yes.
And I
Love
also, and all the inside my head, I just hear dun 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 dun, bloodshed, dun 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 dun, for Tigris, dun 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 dun, And so I lift the axe above my head. I leap down onto one of the dogs that are down there, and I'm going to just bring the axe down onto it.
Yep.
Just strains of heavy metal guitar, of death metal guitar, following me all the way down.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Okay, so that is a great weapon that employs brutality and ferocity. You know what? I also have the blessing of hiss and growl, so I get a plus D6 for this one, right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, all right. Here
you
we
get
go.
a lot of dice near the end of this.
Oh, the highest is a 6.
Well, the highest I've got is a 5. I'm rolling extremely poorly. Yeah, that you fall and not fall clearly, but you bring a crushing blow down.
Can I take this one again? Okay, all right. It's yours. Just the dogs kind of like they just look up in time to see my body descending, and it's just like a comet hitting the ground, and there's this of blood as one of the dogs just gets turned into a red mist, and then one more thing. I took the gifted breath of mankind's babe. I turn to the other dog. I point to the vacuum cleaner and I say, "Sick 'em, boy."
Nice.
And I'll see what happens.
Yeah. So there's a lot more like PvP in this one than I was expecting. It's usually just cats doing the murdering. So let's see. Well, I've got dice for both of them. Let's see what happens. This poor dog just is batted clear of the vacuum for its betrayal, and knocked into the just knocked clear out of the ziggurat and into the sea, with an overwhelming smash. So that just leaves this horrible vacuum cleaner, and then the general stinkiness of the place. I think the vacuum cleaner is also armored. It's got layers of metal over it.
Rude. But you said I had to fight 2 cultists to get to my gas?
Yes.
So I'm gonna do that.
All right, let's do it.
So Kindred's gonna slip into some shadows, and then pop out of them. Are the first cultist are they giant or tricky?
They are neither giant nor tricky.
Okay. 6. No, wait, 9. Sorry.
No, that's you are just fine. So the thought I was gonna have to come up with another everyone kills each other. I'm at this point in the evening relieved to not have to think of that. As I get to tell you, so I rolled for both of the dogs. They capped out at 6, and you were able to get the drop on them. How do you
Literally
dispatch
from like the
these?
ceiling.
Yes.
Just claws and necks and just like Kindred just takes their claws just and yeah, right
Red
across
on the
carotid.
walls.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. You have the
little-
gas.
Okay, so I get the gas next to the hole
Mm-hmm.
and I go and get a torch so I can throw the gas and throw the torch right after it.
Okay. You hear a methane fueled deep rumble, as if to suggest that this is a, load bearing
Load bearing sticky place.
load bearing stinky place. And the walls start to shake and crumble. You can see there's a back it's the whole place is symmetrical. So you came in from the sort of island side. You're pretty sure there's another entrance / exit on the other side, or you can go back the way that you came. But the vacuum is going to try and attack you and prevent you from leaving, because it can't leave, and it can try and suck you back in to keep you here.
I'm gonna fight the vacuum.
All right. Anybody else want in on this last one? I've got
Things you say.
Oh
when
yeah,
you're a
I'll
cat.
take a
fuck
shot
yeah.
at the vacuum. Hell
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I feel like all of us working together can
Yeah.
defeat this vacuum.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is the
All right.
vacuum giant?
The vacuum. You know what? Hell with it. The vacuum is giant and armored.
Oh.
Hey,
I
this is
have
a
enough
perfect-
more dice to add for that. There we go.
Oh my god.
And
8.
8, 12.
Let's see. So I'm gonna deal with these as they come in. So Kindred is just sort of you fight with a not a bow. You fight with a single weapon, I think.
Yeah, I have a sword.
So yeah, you're you never lose your grip on your sword, but unfortunately that comes at a cost, as the vacuum makes a horrible sucking sound and just right up into the arm. As you are, remember, you can always ask for a different death. If that facial expression was genuine.
No, I'm okay.
Yeah. All right. As you are defeated at the hands of the vacuum, did anybody else get lower than a 10?
I
Oh,
got lower than a 10.
yeah.
We all did?
Everybody got lower than a 10.
Can we all die
Yeah,
in the
7,
massive
so.
explosion from the methane, please?
Right?
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yes.
it's okay if we all die. Either.
Yeah, as we all like converge into this thing, there's just this.
So here's what I'm gonna do. Acknowledging it's a one shot, but also rules is written. If the same character kills all of you, it becomes your an additional hated nemesis for you all. And as the and I got to come up with a name for it, as Hoover smashes and keeps you all in this space with it. There's this rumbling as the methane explodes and kills you all.
Like the Sept of Baelor. Just
Yeah. It's like a mushroom cloud, but then the mushroom cloud looks like a skull, and for some reason it's got like a ring around it, just a huge, visible from an incredible distance.
Is it a
you
skull
know,
or a poop emoji?
It's a poop emoji that like melts into a skull.
Yes, I love that. Okay.
Death's robe is blown back. It's a whole thing, and the Hoover in a cliffhanger kind of rockets out of it and into the distance to be a villain later when this gets picked up as a multi-part
Nemesis in
series
the
on the network.
sky.
Yep.
the gaping maw of vacuum, like the gaping vacuum maw.
The gaping vacuum maw.
The gaping maw of Hoover.
There you go.
Gaping maw of. So that death didn't happen to be the 9th for anyone, did it?
I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
That was
Unfortunately,
Okay.
no,
number
just
7
6.
for me.
I'm
5
running
for
out
me.
of road, and this feels like a very cinematic place to
I
end.
feel like this
but
can count as more than one.
this
We,
has to
like,
count for more than one.
We
This
all
is
go to
at
Valhalla.
Disintegrated.
This is at least 3 deaths.
Yeah.
I gotta let's get some folks to Valhalla. As you die both at the hands of a vacuum and a terrible explosion and shrapnel from the collapsing ziggurat from the terrible explosion. That's 3 deaths for sure.
Yeah, nice. There we go.
So
Does that kill anybody?
At that count, does anybody get
I-
into Valhalla?
Yeah, that's 9 for me.
I think
Thank
that's
Christ.
9 for me. I lost count,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna call it 9 because I want to.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
one for me too.
I also lost
I
count.
started one less than everybody. Everybody else had 4, and
Oh,
I had
so
3.
Oh.
No, but I have a question for Death. Like, as this all happens,
Oh, right. You get a question.
Yes!
my question
Okay.
for Death is, can a life be exchanged?
And Death is like, for what?
I will take my 9th to give Revna. Like, I'll take her 9th for my 9th.
I will hate you forever. Don't worry.
So
Coming to Valhalla to murder you over and over again
Death-
for eternity.
Death is not gonna like if
Oh, actually, no,
if-
he wouldn't do that, right? 'Cause that's bad. Valhalla is good.
Yeah, no, we want to go to
Well,
Valhalla.
yeah.
That's
Yeah, but here's the thing that I think is relevant. So all right, let's set the scene.
Or
and then I'm gonna remind you of a rule.
can I give an extra death to elevate Revna's death? That's what it would be. Like, basically, I want her death to count more then, because that's actually what it would be. Because
Well,
then we all go out
let's-
together, and he gets
so
his
let's-
like.
So the you and Death alone in this blasted landscape, right? Like and a boat. Like a boat was promised. There's a boat there, but really it's
was
collapsed. Collapsed ziggurat. It's you and Death. I would remind you, at any time you can attempt to kill Death.
I'll ask him, if I kill you, do I get your job?
And Death nods.
Then I want to kill Death, because now I
All
want
right.
Death's job.
Roll them bones.
So
those bones, those
there's-
bones,
there's
those
no bad
crazy
outcome here.
bones.
I get these 2. For any other dice I have, I took Giant because my killed my favorite my nemesis.
Mm-hmm.
Is Death human-sized?
Is he armored,
Yes.
tricky, or giant? Does he count as
No,
any of those?
Death is just a cat that isn't burdened with skin or mortality.
Okay, so he's not. Doesn't any domesticated or dog. I'm not in the darkness. I'm just
Definitely not
I'm just
domesticated.
rolling my 2 dice. It's great.
Yep,
with
same
my bow.
here.
It's a standoff. I think it's like a old west like fast draw.
Yeah.
What?
Yes, Death just has hand hovering over Scythe.
I rolled. My highest roll is an 8. That was my best roll.
My best was a
A
7.
7!
As you take the mantle of Death, Death, reaches for the scythe and begins to pull, and you're just faster. And it's with, it's in perfect silence with the utmost dignity. How do you feel in these strange eons? How does Death die?
So I think that I fire the bow and Death moves aside, or it like goes through the cloak, not even really there. But in doing so, like, he loses a grip for just a moment on the side, and that's when it dawns on Bjorn, like, that's actually what matters. And they both reach for it, and there's that like the speed lines from both of them reaching for it, and his hand just gets there the split second beforehand, and he's frozen in time. His hand like just about to grip it, and then he just kind of does that fading out into smoke and mist, and like all my clothes are then transformed into the cloak and everything, and my face like all fades, and I actually assume like the visage, like it just and I am become death.
Yep. And you see a moment of the cat who killed Death last time to take the mantle for just a split second before just turning into dust and being lost on the wind as there's a sort of passing of the torch
Does
moment.
Death get to go to Valhalla?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Good. Okay.
You know,
I was like, I want Death
this
to go to Valhalla.
Death sort of is alighted. The dust of death is alighted on the wind up into the clouds and so on. It's a journey to death, slightly delayed, but you've got new work as until someone can step and defeat you in single combat, you will take the mantle of death. And a raven alights upon your shoulder. Fantastic. Couldn't ask for a better ending.
Yeah,
Oh,
great.
perfect.
Oh, that's fucking awesome. I love it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that was great. That was a lot of fun.
I stand by those 3 deaths. Once I realized that there was a monster and a building and a
great.
explosion. It all
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take it. That was great.
Absolutely. It just happened to be good cinematic effect. Thank you all so much for playing this game. This was a ton of fun to GM. I had a blast.
How can we support your Kickstarter?
You can support my Kickstarter by going to gemrimgames.com, and there's a landing page for 9 Lives Valhalla, which will have a link to the Kickstarter. Or if you just type 9 Lives to Valhalla into Google, apparently they just sort of scrub and search Kickstarter and bring those up really early, so that should bring it to you pretty much immediately. This has also been a sort of partial tour of the companion adventure that, because we reached a stretch goal, we'll also be getting a print run. So the Wreck of the Murderess will be getting a lot more words, because right now it's very, and then this happens. There's a wolf cult, and that's actually going to get fleshed out to the point where I won't have to make things up so much. And that'll be also receiving a print run if you back at the Seafarer level or higher. You get that in print. And yeah, it's funding until the end of the month. And if you are watching the VOD and it is after February 28th, as soon as we get the pledge manager open, we'll be taking pre-orders through that. So you'll be able to pick it up at pre-order pricing, because once we actually tell Mixum to make us a whole bunch of zines, we're the price is gonna go up. But so now's a great time to get into it. But yeah, we've been really fortunate to get a lot of excitement around the game, and we're yeah, and the troop of the good boys. The good boys, they're not referred to that as such. I should write that down and use that, because I'm not going to think of a better name for the it can't be the Wolf Church versus the Leash Cult. That's too much. We need to lighten the tone a bit. But yeah, but thank you for giving me a chance to show the game off and plug the Kickstarter.
That was awesome. Anybody have some stuff that they would like to promote what they're doing? Kindred, got any cooking?
Yes, please check out Kimmy, our Happy Jacks Kimmy, and I, and another gal are in a band called the Mary Sues. And we just released an EP last December, and we're working on our next one already. So please do check us out on Spotify, iTunes, all the places. And you can also see 2 of us Mary Sues at the Original Renaissance Pleasure Fair this spring, assuming it happens, because who knows.
But for now, it
Year
is.
84 of the Panini.
Yes.
Pooja.
Hi, I am Pooja. You can find me on Twitter at LA Daisy Girl, and pretty much all the other socials is Forgotten Saves. Coming up, we've got some really exciting stuff. I will be GMing a campaign in the XCOM universe coming up here in a couple of weeks on It's Probably OK's Twitch channel. I'm really, really excited about that. It's set post War of the Chosen, so we've got a whole new world and maybe some new baddies. We'll see how things go. Really excited for my players in that one too, so hopefully I'll see some of y'all there. I am also on the 12-Sided Stories podcast. We have just started airing the season 2 of Otherworld Seattle, which is a Call of Cthulhu game, and holy shit, y'all, I cannot even tell you. This season blew my mind, almost blew us all away. There is a lot going on, and in the best of ways. So if y'all want to check that out, 12-Sided Stories, or It's Probably Okay on Twitch.
Awesome. Jay.
Hi, folks. Once again, this is Jay Africa. You can follow me on Twitter at JAfrica or Instagram at TransplantAsian. And my big thing is last year I got to work on a new RPG called Carbon Gray. It's available for pre-order now through BackerKit. It was kickstarted last year, very successful. And it'll be coming out, I believe, sometime later this quarter. If you're interested in checking it out, it's at carbon-gray, gray with an E.com. And also, when was it? Like late last year, an adventure that I wrote for the D&D Adventurers League released. It is called City of Dreams. Check it out on the Dungeon Masters Guild. It takes place in one of the domains of Dread and is currently supporting the Mist Hunters storyline for the Adventurers League.
Awesome. And we're like, this is amazing. And I'm Bill Roper, and you can find me at Bill Roper because I'm super original
Everywhere,
like that.
all
That's
the places.
right, all the places. I can't say exactly what it is yet, but at the end of this month, I've got a session 0, and then in March, I'm going to be streaming in a second half of a season of what I can say about in a Star Wars game in the in Edge of the Empire system. Yes. I've been asked to join a cast and come in for the second half of their season and play one of the NPCs that something horrible happened to, and I get to pick up after that with that NPC as a player. So I'm really excited about that. Really cool group. So follow me on Twitter or check me out on Twitter because I'll be talking about it there a whole bunch. And then the other thing that I've done recently is I was very honored to be able to do the new series intro for Rivals of Waterdeep. So if you check out that show, which is great, which is a WotC partner cast, they're in their unbelievable 12th season of this show, which is great. And I love the show and reached out to them and said, like, I want to do a new intro for you guys. And they were like, that sounds awesome. So I think that this weekend is their second episode of season 12. So it's a great time to jump in. And you can check that out. If you go to my pinned tweet, you'll see where my growing playlist of series intros are. The last thing I'll say, which was really cool and unexpected, is somehow I think the YouTube algorithms coincided with massive nerdy fandom, and an intro sequence that I did for our home game, which was a Star Trek Adventures game, which I just did for our own fun, has cracked over, I think, 130,000 views now or something crazy.
Yeah.
People have, like, I don't know, Trekkers love it. So it's been really cool. So that was just a out of nowhere thing, because I think the next highest one is Yuma Station at like 300. But I don't care. It was great. So I'm loving doing those. And I actually think Pooja, I've been talking with, it's probably, and I might do one for your XCOM game just for funsies.
Yeah,
so
I'm excited.
So we should chat. That's it. I think that's it. Thanks everybody out there that stuck through it. Apologize for the couple of hiccups we had on the stream and starting late, but whatever, because it was great. Oh my god, Dan, this game is unbelievable. This was so cool.
It's super fun.
Okay.
I already backed it as soon as you told me.
Yeah, same.
So I
it was
just gotta.
great.
So I wrote this with Kali Lori, who's the other half of Gemroom Games, who sent me a screenshot that at some point this evening we got to 333 backers, which adds up to 9, which feels incredibly symbolic somehow. So
Yes.
yeah, it's happening. But yeah, thank you all so much for having me on. This was great. I really hope I get to GM for y'all again.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right,
Yeah,
thanks
for the great
everybody.
game, Dan.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night, folks.
Go to bed. Drink water.